Hey, what's up and hello? This is the Chris Nicole giving you my views on life, love, and the world of entertainment through my eyes. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, depending on what time you are watching this live. Hello, crew. Hope all is well. Make sure you hit the like button on the way in. Hit the like and hit the hype for your girl. And this is my review. All right, crew. Y'all kept saying, Chris, you gotta do it. Please do reviews for This Is Polly. Please. I better get them likes and I better get them hypety hypes because, baby, I am wearing thin for this ratchet ghetto foolery nonsense, baby. Whoo, Lord have mercy. All right, y'all wanted it. Let's go. Okay, y'all coming in. I appreciate you. Hello, Leo. Hello, Z. Hello, Liz. Hello, Tracy. Yeah, this is interesting. This is interesting. Okay. First things first, let me say this. I've noticed that a lot of these people apparently are influencers. They have a social media presence. So people who already have a social media presence, I'm already looking at them side eye because I'm just thinking like, what is your purpose of being on this show? Because people who call themselves influencers, they want the attention. They want the attention, whether good or bad. They want the likes. They want the viewership. They want all of that. So I kind of was like, is this legit or not? But either way, honey, they want to be on this show looking like some fools. Then so be it. All right. So let's get started with the couple that we already know. These braids bother me. These braids bother me. Trent, Cammy, and Nita. We already know their story from Love After Lockup, the first episode from last week. Their braids are given a complete no, and it's also giving that Cammy is infatuated and sprung on everything that Nita does, the way that Nita looks, and all of that. Something tells me Nita gets her hair done, Cammy's going to get her hair done the same way. Nita gets a new tattoo, Cammy's going to get a new tattoo. She is completely sprung on this woman. And these braids, especially Cammy, because we know Cammy is not mixed at all. Now, I don't know about Nita. She could be mixed. She could be. But we know Cammy is not. And then she got the nerve to do the little curls at the end. Girl, stop. The eyebrows bother me too. The eyebrows bother me too. But the culture issue for me, the braids. Y'all, you know, this is given too much. But with that being said, we see them, and first of all, we find out that Nita has been living with them for 3 years. While at the same time on Love After Lockup said she ended up relapsing, and then she had to go to jail for it. So that means that while you guys have been letting her live with you for 3 years, she relapsed. And yet you're dumb enough to still have this woman in your house. Okay. Now they are about to be open and honest and put their relationship out there. So they decide to send an email to family and friends about this is their life. This is not a facade. This is not a fad. Like, this is our real life. This is a poly relationship. We are all three in this together. And their kids, they don't mind it. In fact, the youngest one doesn't mind it because she's also in a poly relationship, okay? Something about this new generation, they actually are all for poly relationships. A lot of them are, for whatever reason. But with that being said, she ends up sending an email. We find out that Trent was very close to his actual father, but because of this poly situation, they have like pretty much disowned him, and Cammy's family has also disowned her. So he's having a tough time with that, just being disowned by his family. Now, with that being said, they talk to their kids about having a commitment ceremony, and they want their son to actually be, I guess, the pastor of this ceremony. He said, sure, you guys were the pastor of our ceremony. Okay. All right. Hoo-wee. All right. But with that being said, they said, okay, well, we ended up getting some responses back. And some of those responses, you know, they were like, you don't have to be public about this. It's none of your business. We know it's none of our business what you do. Why do you have to be so public? And Cammy's like, look, I would rather for someone to say something back, even if it's nasty. I would rather them to say something than not to say anything at all. Like, you know, it's just like they just disown me, like I don't exist anymore. Well, I mean, that can happen. I mean, like, that's even like people who are just in a same, you know, gender relationship. Chances are, if you come from a religious background, like a super religious background, you kind of already know that that could be the end result. I would say so. I don't know anybody that I know who comes from a religious background, ends up coming out, and they don't necessarily already know that potentially that could be the case, that that family just doesn't want anything to do with them anymore. But with that, they end up having a pool party celebrating their love. And baby, the only people who came is the youngest daughter's friends. And if you ask me, a couple of them people were some extras. Like, I think production put a flyer out somewhere at a local bar and said, if you want to be on TV for 5 minutes and pretend like you actually know these people, raise your hand. Okay, come on, let's go. I don't think those was all her youngest daughter's friends, Trent and Cammy's younger daughter's friends. I think those were some extras. But with that being said, that was the end of their segment, honey, so far in episode 1 and 2. But as far as I said, the fact that they got a straight up addict, M head in their house, y'all better hope stuff don't start disappearing out of your house. That is quite interesting that even after her relapsing and going back, y'all still welcome her back in. Like, when I tell you these people are naive and stuck on stupid, you could tell they come from a hillbilly background and they've never really dealt with inner city BS before. Good luck to you, because I have a feeling she about to sit up there and make them go through some serious, serious drama. But with that being said, let's move on. Ciao. Now, this is Las Vegas, Nevada. Now, this don't shock me being in the Las Vegas, Nevada atmosphere, because you know Las Vegas, Nevada is known for a lot of things, okay? And it's not just gambling. This is Bri and Marley. My nickname for them is Black and Mild, because, baby, they look like they smoke them. They look like they eat them. Shoot, they look like they smoke them from their cooch, okay? Black and Mild is going to be their nickname from me. Black and Mild, Bri and Marley, all right? Now, check this out. They got together because Marley, who is married, I didn't say was, I said is married, okay? She is married to a man, all right? Her husband. And her husband and her actually were curious about poly, ended up finding Bri. She decided to leave her husband for Bri. However, she refuses to get a divorce from her husband, all right? Refuses to get a divorce, all right? So apparently they're the big influencers. Now, I don't know. I'm not about to follow them. I don't know how many actual followers they have. But, baby, they said that they manage hoes. And no, I am not trying to be funny in that. They said they manage hoes in different area codes, okay? And they said because they're big influencers, they got hoes galore up in their DM, all right? And so now with that, they have rules to this, okay? First of all, they have a 6-month rule. Trial run is 6 months, all right? But the first rule is they don't tolerate disrespect, okay? And then the second rule is take care of your responsibilities as far as your financial responsibilities, babies, whatever the case may be, baby daddies. Rule number 3 said no hot fish, honey. Your hygiene got to be good. But let me tell you something. They both look like they stink. And I'm sorry, you can't convince me that Marley folds don't stink, okay? Look, let's just be honest. The bigger you are, the more folds you have, the more them folds, the skin locks in together, rubs together, sweat. And with that Las Vegas heat, you ain't going to be able to tell me that she don't stink somewhere. Now, hey, maybe she has mastered her hygiene. Maybe she done put powder in them folds or whatever the case may be. But just the reality is more skin, more belly can create more funk. It is what it is. And she got a fa-duper hooper, fooper, fooper. All right? Let's just call it what it is. She got a fa-foo-foo, fa-foo-foo, fooper. Not a regular fooper, but a badunkadunk fooper. So she claimed no hot fish, no bad hygiene. Okay, girl. Okay, well, you know, hey, like I said, maybe she done mastered it. She seemed like she been a big girl her whole life. You know what I'm saying? Y'all already know I used to be a bigger girl. You know what I'm saying? Not that big, but I have been a bigger girl. We do take care of hygiene, but that's a lot. That's a lot. That's a lot. And you know, I guess I digress. Let me move on. So with that being said, they also said, what was the 4th rule? Dang it. After the hot fish and the hygiene, that threw me off right there because I just started looking at her. Oh no, they said no pillow princess. Okay, no pillow princess, which means I guess you got to go out and work it. I'm thinking, like, what do y'all do for a living? Now, see, Vegas is kind of like Atlanta. That's like Scam City. So I'm like, what do y'all do for a living? Where you talking about no pillow princess, because I don't know if y'all actually work or your influencer work actually pays you. But with that being said, they said that they asked questions about what girls, who do they like, who they don't like. Bri got the nerve to say one of the girls is super ghetto. And I'm thinking, like, what are y'all? If you talking about somebody super ghetto, what are y'all? Because again, I call y'all black and mild for a reason. Y'all look like y'all a little bit on the hood side too. But at that point, they talk about a girl named Key, and they really, really like this girl Key. So they said they're gonna take her out on a date. Meanwhile, Marley said her family has disowned her. If y'all ain't found out by now, Marley is the one, the bigger girl in the black, and Bri is the one with the green on. Yeah, that's them. But Marley said her family has disowned her when she became poly. But at the end of the day, Bri keeps saying, look, how you gonna sit up there and be in this relationship with me and you still married? Marley told someone, well, you need to propose. And Bri said, how am I gonna propose when you're married? Show me in action. Now, honestly, that scene right there seemed very fake to me, very trying to act, but it was an ultimate fail. That scene to me seemed very fake. I don't even necessarily know if that's really their biggest issue, is that she is not getting a divorce. I just think that they know how to master reality TV and they need some type of storyline where they're going to have some drama. I don't even think she really care to sit up there and make sure that girl is divorced. I mean, after all, you was in a relationship with her and her husband. I mean, what's the big deal? You was already in a relationship with him. So, yeah. So with that being said, they end up taking Key, this girl named Key that they really like, to a race car date. And they asked her, are you ready to be our girlfriend? And she said, I don't know. I got to think about it. It's a lot. And they get insulted like, Bill, what? Bill? Like what? Did she just pretty much put us down or whatever and say no? She's like, it's a lot to think about and be in a relationship with y'all. So they was like, okay, well, don't take too long or whatever. Then they end up meeting with another girl who's another BBW, all right? Bri, help me understand how you gonna handle all of that. You got Marley and this BBW. Child, okay. Now, Bri looked like she really small, not just in her size as far as her waist is concerned, but how small she is as far as her height. Now, I don't know if Marley is just really tall or Bri is really small, but baby, compared to both of them women, Bri looked like an ant. She really do look like an ant. She looks so freaking petite and small. But they end up taking this girl and they asked her all of these questions or whatever the case may be. And they was like, yeah, potentially she could be the one. She could be the one. And I'm thinking like, this is just a hot mess express. But then Marley says that she wants to meet with her sister. And her sister sits down with her, which looked like it was a strip club. I don't know where they was, but it looked very strip clubbish. But Marley is like, accept me, accept my poly relationship. And the sister's like, nope, we are traditional, okay? A man and a woman. So I was like, oh, so it's really not just the poly, it's the lesbian side of it too. It's not just the poly situation, it's the lesbian side. So then at that point, she's like, Marley's like, you need to accept my wife. She not your wife. She not your wife. And she was like, well, she is my wife. You need to accept her. You need to accept the poly relationship. She was like, no. She was like, on the outside looking in, it looked like a big circus. And Marley was like to the camera, circus? Bitch, do I have on a wig? And I'm like, yeah, you do have on a wig. So, what's your point? She was like, do I have a red nose? I'm like, no, but I mean, the fact that you said, bitch, do I look like I have a wig on? You did. It's a lace front wig, but it's still a wig. But with that being said, she looked really upset that she was like not being accepted by her family again. I don't understand how you can come from a very traditional background and think that your family is just going to open up and accept you immediately, or if at all. In these type of situations, you have to truly just be comfortable with yourself and know that this is what you want, whether people like it or not. But Marley was up there trying to convince her sister that they need to accept her and her lifestyle. And that girl said, hell to the nah. So the next day, she's sitting up there looking all sad and got the little stuff under her eyes because she had bags. And she said she was crying all night. And she was like, Bri, she called me a clown. And Bri's like, no, she didn't. She was like, and then when I was calling you my wife, she was like, that's not your wife. And Bri was like, well, I mean, she got a point. She got a point. I mean, we're not married. And at the end of the day, Marley was like, well, she need to pick a side. So are you with me or are you not with me? Like, is it 1 minute she calling me a clown? Next minute, someone said, well, she got a point on that. But Bri's like, look, she does have a point. You are still married. Like, this needs to get handled. And she was like, I'm going to handle business. And I'm like, that's interesting that you say that when your rule number 2 was handle your responsibilities and you ain't even handling your own. Interesting. Handle your responsibilities, and yet you're still married, having a freaking relationship with a woman and 50,000 other hoes. Okay, girl. I would love to see this husband, and I would love to see if this husband's going to be on the show, or if this husband's going to tell his side of the story. You know what I'm saying? But with that being said, boo, let's move on to Long Island, New York. I swear I've seen Tamina before, and I feel like I've seen Tamina before, not like on Instagram, but I feel like she's been on another show. Oh, so y'all also feel like it was a fake hired actor type of stuff. Yeah, I'm feeling like some of this stuff is fake. Some of this stuff is super duper fake. But here is Tamina, honey. Now, Tamina, she's from Queens. I'm like, have I seen her around before? She just looked really familiar. Like, I wonder if like her family has like a business or something in Queens somewhere. I swear I've seen her before, honey. But it's Tamina and BQ, okay? Now, Tamina is plastic. Straight plastic, fake boobs, fake butt. She even got color contact lenses in her eyes. I was like, them eyes scared the hell out of me. I said, what in the world? Why do you have them freaking blue contacts in your eyes, girl? Stop it. But they're currently not in a poly relationship. But when they were in a poly relationship, the reason why she agreed to a poly relationship because her man was cheating on her anyways. Okay. And so my thing is, if he was already cheating on you, you think that's going to stop him even if he's in a poly relationship? No, because again, he wants more and more and more and more. It's never going to stop. He has even admitted that he's never been faithful in any relationship. This man just needs to be single. But she's not going to allow him to be single. You know why? Because it seems to me he pays the bills. He pays all the bills while she just sits up there and is his eye candy and looks pretty. All right. Now, with that being said, she said, look, we got to go to counseling. We got to figure this out before we even think about some type of poly relationship. But he's like, if you don't want me to cheat on you, we need to be in a poly relationship. Girl, even if it's in a poly relationship, he's still going to cheat on you. It's going to be another girl you don't completely know about because he likes the thrill of you not knowing. He's still going to cheat. Now, Tamina tells him that he found a girl that she likes, and he's like, does she got boobs? She's like, yeah, she has boobs and butt. Like, I have never seen so many like white girls, or I don't even know, what is she white? Is she Pakistani? Either way, both of them have definitely had work done. Like I was just like, good grief, BBLs, boobs galore. So she was like, yeah, she has butt and everything else. And he was like, oh, okay, well, if that's the case, I ain't going back to work. I'm about to leave work because you talking about some Uchi Wally new cooch. Okay, Uchi Wally bang bang. We about to go to dinner and check her out. All right. So then they end up going to dinner and meeting this potential girl. And this is when things get very, very interesting. All right. So she says that he ended up cheating on her with a girl who is like her sister, his co-worker, but is like a sister to her. And so with that, she ends up sitting down with him and the new girl, and she explains why they got into a poly relationship in the first place, because he was cheating. And so the girl, who in my opinion was pro Tamina in this situation, was like, well, why did you cheat? Like, what was up with that? Why did you cheat? And he was like, well, I mean, technically it wasn't like a lot of cheating. It was just like one girl that, happened for years, but it was a girl that was like her friend. And so she was like, he claims out of 4 years they didn't have freaky tales. And the girl is looking like, get the heck up out of here. 4 years, no freaky tales. Like, stop lying, homie. Stop lying. So then Tamina was like, well, yeah, that's what he told me, that it was just more emotional. It wasn't physical. So then the girl was like, well, when was the last time you had freaky tales with this girl? And he's like, huh? He was like, I didn't really have freaky tales like that. And Tamina's like, you told me you didn't have freaky tales at all. You told me there was none of that happening at all. Did you sleep with her? When was the last time you slept with her? And he was like January, February. It's probably May. New York weather is probably April or May right now. Maybe June, with literally when he said January, February, it hadn't been that long. So at this point, Tamina is upset, and she's like, you didn't even tell me that you sat up there and had freaky tales with her. So it took someone you don't know coming in, asking you the questions, and then you're going to be honest. You're going to be honest about that with her, but you weren't honest with me. And so at this point, he feels like a typical trifling man. He feels like, I feel set up. I feel ambushed. I'm about to get the heck up out of here. And immediately when he goes outside, he pretty much says, man, I don't give a F what happens between me and Tamina at this point. I'm out of here, okay? Now, this is not the first time or the last time that he pretty much said F this relationship, which tells me the only reason why he's really around is because she won't let him go. That's really what it is. If she really decided to get the heck up out of there and leave, she would. So the next time we see them after the big reveal that he ended up sleeping with that girl, and even recently, we see her sleeping on the couch and he was sleeping in the bed. So that tells you right there the dynamics of this relationship. He's not sleeping on the couch. She's sleeping on the couch. So then at this point, she's upset. She said, you told me this was just an emotional thing and it was not freaky tales. And I'm thinking like, well, and he even kind of made the point too. If you wanted to be an emotional thing between him and a woman, fine. But I can tell you right now, if a man has gotten emotionally involved in the cheating part, the emotional part of it, trust me, the physical is already there. Trust and believe it is. So then at that point, he said, well, wouldn't you rather me just have freaky tales than it being emotional? And so she was like, that's it. You don't deserve a poly relationship anymore. You don't deserve one. We need to go to counseling. That woman sat up in here and said she was like a sister to me, and we're like sisters while she was standing next to you. And that is bull. And she was like, I'm sick of this. And she was like, you know what? Counseling or whatever the case may be, or it's over. And there's no poly relationship. He was like, yeah, all right, whatever. F off. I'm going to work. He ends up going to work. He don't call her all day. Guess who calls? She calls him. So this is why I say the only reason why he's still in this relationship is because she's holding on. I'm calling you. I haven't heard from you all day. You just stormed out of here and you didn't say anything and you haven't called me all day. So I'm calling you to see what's up. You know, you just can't leave out. He was like, yeah, whatever. I'm at work. What do you want? Well, so they're about to sell the house. And so the owner said, we have 60 days to move out. He was like, yeah, okay. All right, well, look, I don't care, whatever, F this. I'm about to get off of work and I'm going to the gym. And she was like, you have a whole family here and you mean to tell me you don't care what happens to us? You don't care? Like, you know, we have 60 days and you don't care? He was like, look, man, I'm going to the gym. And she was like, yeah, okay, whatever. All right, see you tonight. Bye. She has a tracker on his phone. Does he go to the gym? No, he goes to the strip club. But here's the interesting thing. When she walks into the strip club to find him there, she looked like a stripper herself. She got her freaking booty out. She got on freaking pants with no panties on, looking a hot freaking mess. And he even almost had to take a second glance. He was like, my woman looks like a stripper. So I didn't know if that was a stripper or her. So she walks in upset. I thought you was at the gym. I thought you was at the gym. He was like, yeah, okay, whatever. They go outside. She argued with him and she was like, you know what? She was like, we need counseling and we need this or otherwise. He was like, look, my boy Paulie is in there. I'm about to go back into the strip club. And she was like, if you go back in there, then this relationship is over. Then it's over. F you, kick rocks. He didn't care. He didn't care. He walked right back in there because he already knows she ain't going nowhere. She was like, I'm so upset. Don't follow me. She talking to the cameras. Don't follow me. Leave me alone. I'm so upset. Why? Why, homie? You not going nowhere. He pays the bills. You do nothing in that relationship but sit up there and make sure that you get your tummy tucks and your boobs done and make sure the boobs are still perky. He knows you don't contribute anything to the relationship. He knows that you keep saying you're going to leave him and you're not going to leave him. You're going to still compromise and do things hoping that he's not going to lie to you. He's still going to lie. In fact, he said in this freaking episode that this is why he lies, because when he tells the truth, he feels like he's ambushed. So he's going to continue to lie. And guess what? You're not going to go anywhere. So what's the point of this situation? So let's move on. The club was empty because they made sure that they probably rented it out for production purposes. Maybe that was it. But here we go. And I'm not saying the word because there's only one person who's going to be called that word with a Y. Let me tell y'all something. God forgives. He really does, okay? All of us are sinners, okay? We all need God to cleanse us, to forgive us of our sins. But I personally believe there are certain sins that God may not forgive, or it'd be very hard for him to forgive. One would be mocking him, and another one would be you trying to be him or think you are him. These fools have called themselves by God's name. In my personal opinion, a first-class ticket to hell. We have Poetic, who claims he's a businessman and a rapper. How many times have we heard that on a freaking reality TV show? I smell a potential scam alerts coming up soon, like getting arrested for possibly some scammery, in my opinion. But I don't know. This is for entertainment and educational purposes only. Because you tell me what business. Because first of all, rapping, never heard of you. Never seen you before. Businessman. Sir, what business do you have that you can take care of 4 women and 18 children? I'll wait. They live in Orlando, Florida, okay? Ratchet Florida, as a lot of people would call it. All right? And so, if you ask me, this is giving Jim Jones vibe of Florida. And I ain't talking about Jim Jones, the rapper. Those who are old enough to hear about Jim Jones drinking the Kool-Aid, look it up. He's giving Jim Jones of Florida. All right? He has, again, 4 wives, 1 black one that's pregnant, 1 who I believe is a little person. I think she's a little person. Y'all think she a little person? Did she say she's a little person? She looked like a little person. Even her hands and her arms look like little people stuff. I ain't trying to be mean, but she looked like she a little person, okay? So he has these wives, the black one and the little person girl. They've been with him the longest. Now, the new ones, Crystal and Mandy or Madi, I don't know how you pronounce her name. They're new and they're a little jealous of each other, or at least Mandy is, okay? Mandy is jealous of Crystal, okay? Now, here's the thing. This is giving straight cult. And so with that, we see that Crystal announces that their anniversary, they officially, like 4 years is their anniversary, and she gives him a kiss. We see all of these little kids, and they got the nerve to have the little kids calling themselves the Y name in front of their actual real names. When I tell you this cult, I can't believe they got these kids involved. But again, this is Jim Jones cult vibes. But with that being said, Crystal's like, it's our anniversary. And so Mandy was like, oh, well, he don't celebrate anniversaries. Well, I guess he decided because you said that he was about to celebrate an anniversary, because next thing you know, he come with some flowers like, well, Crystal said it was our anniversary, so I guess it's our anniversary, so we about to go celebrate. And while the other 2, the black girl and the little girl, was like, okay, well, have fun. Mandy was looking like, oh, hell nah. What's up with that? And she was like, I feel like it needs to be equal. He spent too much time with Crystal, and I got a problem with that. Then at the gender reveal, we find out they having another girl or whatever. And so Mandy also is having issues with that, because out of all the women, everybody has had a child by Poetic except for her. She has a child, but not with Poetic. And they show us her daughter, and her daughter low-key looked like she want to get out. Her daughter looked like, given the opportunity, she trying to get the heck up out of that cult. But she's upset and she's frustrated because she's like, what is wrong with me where I can't have a child with Poetic? She said even if she needs IVF, it's too expensive, and she doesn't know if that's even possible, but she wants to have another baby. So not only is she feeling jealous of Crystal, but she also feels like she can't get a baby. She can't have a baby, so she feels like she is inadequate. She is not doing what a woman is supposed to do, okay? And so at that point, when he ends up taking Crystal out on the date, Crystal was too busy trying to figure out if he about to add another one to his roster. And so his thing is, I don't know, detective, you figure it out. Now, definitely he is giving, you don't ask me nothing. You don't ask me nothing. If anything, I ask you the questions, but you don't ask me nothing. You don't question where my peen goes, okay? My peen can go anywhere, but your cooch stays here with me. So, and she's like, I just want to know. He was like, yeah, well, you figure it out, detective. But he was like, okay, yeah, happy anniversary, whatever the case may be. So then he says, well, since Mandy sat up there and was complaining about the fact that, I spend too much time with Crystal, I'm going to take her out. So they end up going to some swamp. And I said, oh, well, that's different. You take Crystal out to a nice little restaurant with drinks and everything else, and you take her to a swamp, honey. Ooh-wee. Okay, but you say don't let them feel any differently about how they treat each other. But then when they low key, as women would do, sit up there and be like, well, why does this person get this and I don't? You try to say it's because they're insecure. No, you're pitting them against each other. That's what you're doing. That's exactly what you're doing. So then she says, well, I want more time with you. I want more time with you. You spend 3 days out of 7 going into Crystal's room. And he's like, that ain't true. That ain't true. But the cameras don't lie. The cameras show him going in there Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, but then swear, but now that ain't true. And he was like, see, you too busy worried about other things. And then when I sit up there and try to bring certain things to you, nothing ain't never good enough for you. And she was like, I'm just saying I want more time. He said, well, maybe this ain't for you. Maybe this ain't for you, okay? Maybe this whole polygamy thing is not for you. She was like, oh, so you breaking up with me? He's like, I'm just saying, ain't nothing ever good enough for you. So maybe this ain't for you. She was like, I just want to spend more time with you. So she walked away. Then he's sitting up there talking to the camera. She was like, can I speak to you off the cameras? He was like, man, I ain't got time for this. She was like, I just want to talk to you off the camera. It's like, I just don't understand why you feel like it's an issue with me wanting to spend more time with you. I don't understand that. He was like, man, let me tell you something. Look, this just ain't going to be for you. You ain't going to be questioning me, child. And the episode goes off with them arguing. Heck yeah, he gaslit her the whole time. He gaslit her the whole time, but that's what they do in polygamy relationships. Well, that's what cheaters and trifling men do, period. They gonna gaslight. So at the end of the day, now what makes me curious is, can these women have relationships outside of him? I bet you they won't. I bet you they can't. Yes, thank you, Leo. Make sure you hit the like button and hit the hype button for the replay gang. Hit the hype button. Yeah, I definitely feel like he can do whatever he want to do, but they cannot step out on him. They can't. Now, again, help me understand how you are able to afford 4 women and 18 children. Clearly, I don't see how any of these women can have jobs. There's 18 kids. A lot of them are babies. So who's taking care of these kids? I have a feeling he did the worst thing by getting on this show, because something is probably about to be exposed when it comes to him and his so-called money-making skills, because you're not going to be able to convince me. The fact that he said businessman, but he didn't tell us what type of business it was, says a lot. Says a lot, okay? Like I said, it's giving Jim Jones. Definitely some Jim Jones stuff. But with that being said, y'all, that was my review on episodes 1 and 2. I don't know, crew. These views better be viewing, baby, because let me tell you something. I was already looking at this like it's some nonsense, but yeah, it's giving that some of this stuff is acting. It's giving some of this stuff is fake. Now, and I'm not saying that their poly relationship in general is fake, but I'm saying that they're making up fake storylines to create the drama to be on this show. But it's definitely giving a lot of what the heck is going on here. At first I thought all those kids was his till later I found that some of the older ones are not, which is interesting that these women decided to bring these kids into this situation. This, honestly, I wouldn't be shocked if what he's trying to do is create his own show with 4 and all of them kids. I truly feel like he's trying to create a ghetto demonic Brady Bunch. Yeah, a ghetto demonic Brady Bunch. It that's what it is. That's what it is. But I'm not calling them by that name that you only call God. Let me tell you something. That's one thing I don't play with is God. Like to try to mock or act like you or on that level. Yeah, good luck, buddy. Good luck. This may be the beginning of the end for you in so many ways as far as who you are as a person. Because I immediately said, businessman, huh? Businessman. Okay, sir. Okay. I would like to know. I wish they would have a reunion and ask him what kind of business he has. Mm-hmm. The shiny suits, the fake jewelry, he probably gonna say it ain't fake, but all of them rings on that finger, like seriously, the matching outfits, like. And then Maddie said she's from New York, and I said, well, I'll be not New York, not a New Yorker. You like the vines on the walls? I didn't know what the hell that was. That scared the heck out of me. First of all, that would make me like that would creep me out. Seeing that on the walls would creep me out. Would make me itch. Am I tripping? But that would make me itch. I'll be like, is it dirty or what is that? Like, I like things to just look simple and clean. I didn't know what that was. Hideous. I tell you, it was hideous. All of his pimp jewelry. Exactly. What do they all see in him? Insecurities? I don't know, child. I mean, everybody in here got some issues. They all got some issues. Like, let's just call it what it is. I think they need to have a therapist on the show, if you ask me, just like they need a therapy on Love at Lockup. But with that being said, you guys, that was my review. Let's continue the conversation in the comment section. I'm telling y'all right now, if these views are not viewing, trust me, I'm going to put my energy on the stuff that is going to give me the views. Now, I appreciate my crew who came in. Y'all said y'all was going to show up and show out. And y'all did. The ones who kept saying, no, Chris, you got to do it. Y'all came into this live and I appreciate you. But y'all know how I am. Y'all know how I am when the views ain't viewing. I will keep it pushing. So with that being said, please like, share, and subscribe. And I will see you on my next video. Toodles.